Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and a very warm welcome. Charlie and I...
Nehmen wir auf?
Ja.
Achso, sorry.
Seit 29 Sekunden, 30 Sekunden.
Sorry.
Yeah. Charlie, there's a kind of back pain. And the back pain comes occasionally with my athletes. And they say it's not really in around your glutes. It's not high up. It doesn't seem to be the spine.
It is not.
But you know, when you row and all of a sudden you feel like, ah, and usually when you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
So happens a lot,
Yes.
happened to me in sweep rowing. And from one stroke to the next, I couldn't take one more stroke. It was, I just couldn't move. But it was not
Very
in the
typical.
spine.
Very typical. It's not in the spine. It's way deeper than the spine. It is, although no, you could say it is in the spine, but it's not in the vertebrae part of the spine. It's in the pelvic part of the spine. It's in the sacrum. And it's the connection between the sacrum and the bones of the pelvis. The iliobone.
Is this the picture we see right now?
This is the picture.
Can you explain
Yes.
what this is?
So the picture here is a male pelvis, and from upwards, these are the vertebrae, the last three vertebrae of the lumbar spine.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is this bone here in red. This is called the sacrum.
Mm-hmm.
And these two bones outside here from the pelvis, they are the ilium. So you have the iliosacral joint. Iliosacral joint, or German Iliosakralgelenk, ISG. And Gelenk is this tiny thing here, and with this picture, beautiful, you can turn them. From the back side, you can see it better like this. The vertebrae again, and then this red part here is the sacrum, and up here is the little connection. And this joint, the ISG, can get blocked.
So this actually moves. This is not a fixed structure.
This is what always the people always think, that the pelvis is a fixed structure. It is not. It consists of three bones, one ilio left, one ilio right, and the sacrum. And it is moving, and it is constantly moving. This is something that people also do not keep in regard. When you are walking, for example, whenever you take a step, it is moving a little bit front to back. When you take the two steps, it's constantly moving. It is not fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are rowing, especially when you're sweep rowing, if you have a vertical load, it's quite okay. But if the load is not vertical, then you have different force structures in here, and then the joint can get blocked a little bit.
Why does it get blocked?
It gets blocked. In sweep rowing it can get blocked. It can get blocked if you are doing sports where you land or jump from one leg, where you also have a very high sudden movement. And in rowing, especially if you are tired and not giving a muscular stability with the glutes outside here, the glutes would be here. And the glutes connect not only from the thigh, but also from the pelvis and the sacrum here. And they also give a stability, and the piriformis, tiny muscle down here, also gives stability. And when you are making sudden moves without having good tension in there, then there can be a tiny, like a fraction of a millimeter. You cannot even see, you can in blocked ISG joint, you cannot see in X-rays or MRT.
MRI.
In MRI, you cannot see it in MRI also. Yeah. It's a fraction of a millimeter. But, or this is one thing, or the other thing is, the second theory, there are two theories, what can be the cause. The second theory is you have a under pressure inside the joint. And when you have you seen these videos of the chiropractors that make these releases and this cracking? The cracking noise is actually the under pressure releasing, the little nitrous bubbles, I think,
really? From
the joint. Yes, it's not the joint, it's not the bone scraped on bone, it's the gas getting inside the joint. This
is this, whenever we do this and we hear that sound.
When you have the creaking sound, this is actually creaking. But when you have this movement and then, I cannot do it with my fingers, but when you pop the fingers, the popping of the fingers is actually gas inside the joint. It's not the bone that is making this noise. Also with chiropractors, don't be afraid. It's not cracking your thing.
Well, I'm just a specific question. What locks up? So you say this is locked up. What blocks it? Is it the muscle?
It's no, it's not blocked. It's in a wrong position. We say it is blocked because it's in the wrong position, and then it cannot move. You have pain receptors in here, and the muscles have a tendency to go in super, super high tension. And when you have, it's actually not blocked because it can be moved. And I will show you later exercises and also some exercises that you can do if you have it. It's a series of exercises where you first make a little mobilization of the joint, and then you actually try to reposition it, to get it back in the original place where it belongs.
But it's the muscles being too tight.
It's the muscles being too tight, and it's the tiny pain receptors in the joint. If the joint is not stacked properly, yeah, I can show it maybe with this little box here. If the box is properly, it fits properly, it can move very good like this. If I angle it to the side, it cannot move. It's light blocked. And this, the angle here is quite a huge angle in this thing, but actually the angle in the pelvic bone is very little. It's some millimeters. You cannot see it in an X-ray, but you can feel it. And the thing that's typical, once again, is the pain is, like we said earlier, it's not the back pain up here or the other one that's going down the leg. The pain is a little bit to the side. Let's get it straight. Like this. So this is now vertical. The pain is here in this region.
Yeah.
Or up here a little bit to the outside.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite back pain, the actual back pain, the disc that's broken, is actually quite high up. This is rather low. This is when I present you my backside, which is very good. It is this bone here up. This is up here. So the pelvis goes up here, and the pain is here.
I mean, I personally feel it right there.
Yes, there on the outside. It's not central. In the middle, it's on the outside.
Yeah.
Something that gets very often, the central pain is very often the last joint here, the last vertebrae, the fifth vertebrae, and the disc down here. This is quite a tricky disc. Also in rowing, when you have too much of a curvature in the lower back.
Yeah.
The fifth thing, but this gives the pain in the middle. The pain left and right, especially a little bit more on the outside, like wrong direction, more here on the side. This is typically the ISG joint. Very, very common.
Okay, so if you guys have back pain, and I'm no exception to that, it may not be something serious, but it may be something you can actually solve yourself. Charlie, are you going to show us some exercises?
I would like to show, this is always a problem, because usually then you visit a chiropractor and the chiropractor goes and says, okay, let's do some always legs across, and then this cracking thing, this is the most typical thing. This is actually the cracking of the SI joint. This, when the patient is lying like this, the leg is over and pressure is here, then it makes down here. This is the SI joint.
Yeah, but it doesn't solve the issue, as I understand it, because the muscles are still in the same state.
The muscles are stay. And the other thing is, if you do the movement again, it'll come back. So the thing that is important is, first thing is to get this thing moving again, very slowly with some tiny, easy exercises to sort of convince the muscles to get out of this Schockstarre, like they are in shock and completely tense.
They're blocked up. They lock up. Muscles
and then,
lock up.
muscles lost the locking up of the muscle. And then what we do is that we try to mobilize the joint, get a little bit of movement inside, and then actually we do some sort of deblocking, but in a very not forceful way. Sometimes you even can hear the crack when you do it yourself. Don't be afraid, this is not the bone that is breaking, the cracking sound, it's nothing hard. But you will feel the relief very, very instantly.
Some people have this problem on a permanent basis, and Charlie, you've got an idea about this.
This is what we were talking up to now, is this acute blockage of the joint. There are people that have more or less constant problems. They either block up very, very easily, or they have a constant misalignment there. And this is the very famous in German, the Beckenschiefstand.
So
if the pelvis is not in axis, if the pelvis is a bit de-aligned. This is always the thing with the one leg is longer than the other or shorter than the other, which very, very rarely is the case.
yeah, yeah.
It is if the leg is in here and you move the pelvis to the front, the leg, the socket of the hip moves a little bit upward. Or if you turn it the other way around, it goes downward a little bit.
Which then creates the appearance of different lengths
Yes,
of
when
legs.
the people are lying on the back, one foot actually is like that. It's longer than the other foot. But when you measure, the measurement from the ankle to the bone outside here, to the length of the thigh, no difference.
So Charlie, you're saying if people have the impression of different lengths of legs, very often, if I understand you correctly, if you measure the leg, or both legs up to the bone, the length is the same. It is a pelvic tilt.
It's a pelvic tilt. The people are lying flat on the back, and you see that one heel actually is a little bit further out than the other one. So you would say, oh yeah, there's a difference in leg. It's an inch of a difference. But the fun thing is the bones are exactly the same length. It's the pelvis that is, from the movement, if I show it here, that is tilting and that way. This tilt is something that happens whenever you take a step. But when you have a tensed muscle and you have it permanent on one side, one bone is deeper down, the other thigh attaches higher, so you have the optical impression of having a different leg length. And when you stand in front of a mirror and you are very, very skinny, not our caliber, very skinny, then you can see that the bones in the front here, that the bones in front here are a little bit different in height. This is very typical for the tilted pelvis. You could, if you want to check it, you could use a broomstick and hold it in front of yourself. Usually, no matter how well fed, nice way of saying fat, well fed you are,
Well nourished.
Well nourished you are, you always can touch this little bony protrusion here, which is this one up here.
Yeah, you feel it.
You always can feel it. So you can hold the broomstick across and stand in front of a mirror. And this broomstick should be parallel, should be level in that way, and not being tilted. If it's tilted, then you would need to mobilize the whole region here a little bit more. These are more exercises. What I want to show you right now, actually there is one exercise that helps you to align it. It's the deep squat, like we were talking before. Deep squat is a super, super, super important exercise.
I think we briefly touched on that topic actually last time. Talked about the super deep squat, or just being in deep squatting position, because you said it aligns the hip.
And it's also, fun thing is, the last exercise of this series that's going to mobilize the block joint and everything is a deep squat where you should stay a little bit. If you want to have a quick tip, something very good, try to spend a minute a day, if possible longer, in a deep squat. Move around a little bit. But when you're down there, you automatically adjust the pelvis a little bit. And it gets used. It may take some time to get used to it, to go down deeply, but it's a very, very rewarding exercise.
Now, as I think I've got this issue, I would like to try the exercises.
We could try to do so.
Good. Well, follow us. See if we can cure
Aram. Whether we can cure Aram. Next.
All right. So Charlie's going to walk me through a couple of exercises, and the thing is, I mean, my back is from many years of linear erg rowing. It's pretty thrashed, and from working 80 to 100 hours a week until I had kids, I'm in pretty bad condition. So my back is aching, and I'm trying to get back, and this is something I think that could help me, and I'm 100% sure some of you, or a lot of you, may be in a very similar situation. So I'm thankful Charlie's going to walk me through a couple of exercises, and I'm looking forward to be cured afterwards.
Okay, so what we're going to do is a series of exercises consisting of first mobilization with a little bit of movement of the pelvis. Then we are going to do some specific exercises for the joint to loosen up the joint. And then we are trying to reposition the joint to get it back into the proper right angle and position. So we have to start with the standing exercises where we try to mobilize very swiftly. One thing that is very important, if you have acute pain, you do not need the whole range of motion that I'm going to push Aram through right now. I think he will not like it also, but you don't have to go that far. Go as long as it is okay for you. It may be uncomfortable, but it should not go into acute, hefty pain. You should never push through pain. So now the first exercises we are doing standing, and it's sort of a mobilization of the whole pelvic regions.
Okay.
So simply do this, moving the pelvis forward to me, other way to the left side and to the right. Make tiny little circles with the pelvis. Aram is very good at moving the pelvis without moving anything else. You might not be as good. It might look more like this and this. It's okay. The idea is to get movement in this region a little bit. Then play with left and right, because left and right is now what is more a little bit danger. And if you put your hands on the behind here, you can feel like the muscles are working a little bit.
I do, yeah.
And you can feel how the sacrum is staying stable and the others are moving a little bit. We want, if you want to increase it a little bit more, go into the jockey position. Legs spread out a little bit more. Go down deep a little bit. And then do this movement again. Now you have it more intense. A little bit more. You can take your weight off a little bit by putting on him, because
Reminds me of some of the 90s music videos.
yes, it's exactly the thing. This is what we in jazz dance used to do to warm up. It was always go down and deep squat and then forward, left, back, left. So this is movement a little bit here. Then we have two exercises where you need a little bit something that like 2 inches. 2 inches would be enough of height. You can use books, anything, something that is very often in the modern times, the famous yoga blocks. You could use something like this. Now we put the forefoot up on the block, so we have a little angle. The other foot, the arch of the foot is coming forward, aligned with the big toe. So you see it's a little bit further forward. So, and now you try to push your, like a Romanian deadlift, the behind backwards and bend over a little bit. This leg should be straight. You can go here into a leg. He's so flexible. You can go a little bit in a flexion here, because the idea, I want to get tension here, movement. Once again up and down once again, and getting a stretch. He is a very straight back. Aram, you don't need to have the back this straight. The idea is not to exercise some muscles here. The idea is to get movement and up again and down again. 10 times on each side, paired with the next exercise that I'm going to show you, and make a superset out of it. No, not yet.
A superset.
Stay on one side.
Yep.
The other thing is you go
Active
down
knee.
with the active knee down here, and then you go into this forefoot stand, also, yeah, or like this. It's even better to see. And now you're moving down and up, and down and up. You see that the leg here is pushing the pelvis down. Up and down, up and down. So you do 20 of these, 20 of the before mentioned, and then you switch to the other side. Get up once again.
Okay, now we do the other side superset.
Now you have this leg up here.
So it was arch of my foot.
Arch my foot, a little bit further even. And now bend down to me. Towards
So
me.
round back is just the motion.
It's the motion, yeah, the tension here. And you see that the pelvis is now a little bit going down, and we have a little bit more stretch on this side here. Yes. Oh, I can. Funny thing is, when I touch him here, I can actually feel the sacrum moving with the pelvic bone.
Okay.
And then the superset with the knee.
Now with my active knee again. Okay.
Active knee up here. And now lifting up and down. Up and down. Up and down. So you make basically a superset out of these. You can use any number you like. If you have lots of time, take 20. 20 repetitions each, and then make the standing stretch, then the kneeling stretch, then move over to the other side. 3 sets in total.
How many times should somebody do this?
This, what we're doing right now, is if you have the acute pain. You should do the whole series. And you will, at one point or the other, some people even have it with the first 90-90 thing in the beginning, they already have the crack. Sometimes you will get it later. You will feel, whenever you move a little bit more, you will feel less tension, less pain, a little bit. You don't have to go for this crack sound. The cracking is not always necessary. The idea is to get a feeling for the joint a little bit and the loosening up of the joint. This movement of the pelvis to restore the movement a little bit. One thing that is also very healthy is just walking, simple walking. Especially if you have the opportunity to walk on a soft surface like grass or sand on the beach, then barefoot. Or if you have to walk on hard surfaces, walk with soft soles, something. Straight up, posture video is something we also have to do.
Yeah.
But then walk, it's also the basic exercise. If in my Health for Grown-ups, I start the movement for people who haven't been moving just with walking. Just take a walk for like 20 minutes a day. This is basically the movement that we are made for. And the other thing is, it's the movement that gives a little bit of flexibility in the whole skeletal system. Next thing we're going to do is, this is a position I like very much. I use it every time when I'm just warming up, but for the, because it's very good for the hip mobility. Now we want to go for the ISG mobility. It's the 90-90 position. So please get down in the 90-90. Exactly. The name 90-90 is because you have 90 degrees here, and you also have 90 degrees here. A little bit further. So, and the first part of the exercise is to put this hand on the hip here, and then move forward, and then push it down swiftly. This will be painful, not so much, a little bit. And
I feel it right here.
This is when a question of the mobility of the hip joint. We want now to focus more on the part back here. So the back may be a little bit rounded, and squeeze down, okay, forward and down. And you're supposed to do this like 20 to 30 times per side. Now let's switch to the other 90-90. So the idea is, once again, the hand here, to move up here and then down. Move down a little bit. Up and down.
Interesting. I feel nothing when I go forward here, but I feel everything here on the back side and here.
Yeah, this is a muscle, another muscle, little bit off topic. This is the tensor fasciae latae. This is the muscle that is supposed to support the femur from the outside. It goes from the hip down here to the knee. It's very often very, very tight.
Oh yeah, it is.
But once again, focus on the part back here.
Okay.
Go down, move. Go down. And you can see with Aram, he is rowing, he is sitting very much on a desk, very often on a desk. The whole lower body tends to get tight. So we have to move, especially the low squat, which we'll show in the end, is an important exercise for every time. But this now specifically for the mobilization of the SI joint. Okay, next one. Once again, 90-90 position, and now we want to stretch the glute. The glute of this leg is going to be stretched by moving the upper body down here. Easy, easy. If you have a blocked SI joint, this will be super, super painful. So move down, and one thing, now inhale, and when you exhale, go a little bit further down. Okay, enough. Next, inhale. And you can see the axis is he's moving towards his foot, not to the outside, more towards the foot. Down breathing. Once again. And you can see he's coming down a little bit further and further and further. Okay, same thing to the other side. Bends over towards this leg.
I feel my low back stretching. It's not painful, but I feel stretch.
Exactly. You feel it here and also down here in the, sorry, have to lift your arm. No, it's in this region here, the outer pelvic region.
Yeah, now I feel right there and in the middle of the back.
Yes.
But it's a muscular stretch.
It is. And you can feel also the muscles here. Maybe we could turn around. When he's going down, he's stretching all the muscles down here. And you're moving in this direction to the foot. Inhale. Exhaling. Inhale. And very gently, be swift here. Do not force yourself into anything. Aram is very mobile. Maybe you are not able to go down that much, especially if you're having pain here somewhere. Just stretch it a little bit. Okay, that's it. For the next exercise, pull up both knees, cross one leg over the other, and cross it down. Push it down, 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 down. So the gap here is very small. Now move slowly to the side and a little bit up. You can spread out the arms, you have a little bit more balance. A little bit up here, and then down, and to the other side. And when you go down, lift the knee up a little bit. Like this, yes. So you have like a circle going down, up here, and up. And going down, and up here. Und sogar noch mehr schließen ruhig. Also like this. Very compact, very tight. Okay? So you do this like 10 or 20 times per side. And then you switch the legs. When you go up, this leg down, the other leg crossing over, closing the gap here. So put it tight. And then once again, make this little circle. Where
Wow, that's an extreme stretch here.
Exactly. This is what we want to have. One thing here.
Good Lord.
And other side. Moving up a little bit. So in the stretch, you see on this side you can see on this side he's way less mobile than the other, which is completely okay. You're supposed to get a stretch. And the stretch with moving a little bit. Movement. Other side down. Dann muss ich nochmal hier oben hingehen und das erzählen.
Ich krieg's jetzt nicht mit zusammen, aber das war fast so ein...
Ja. Und du sollst aber mehr versuchen, dass das so ein Viertelkreis wird. Genau, hoch, dann so runter und jetzt hier unten auch eher ein bisschen hochziehen. Yep.
Ja, okay, da spür ich's.
This is the movement, almost like half a circle with the knee.
Oh, that's a lot of mobilization here.
This is...
Oh, things are moving.
Yeah, because you are blocking with the leg, you are blocking the pelvis. You definitely have to move the pelvis right now, like I told you before, this movement here. And you can do it as long as it feels good, 10 or 20 times per side. Okay, and then finally we're going to the de-blocking thing. And the de-blocking theme is cross the legs over. And now move to the right side, down to this side here. And now apply pressure here. Right. Now you're getting a real stretch. This is the chiropractor. We'll put pressure here and then move here. And then you get this stretch down here very much. And you should stay in this position lying down for like 20 is too much. 2 minutes, even 3 minutes. Lying down is something we usually are quite good at. So, then to the other side. So now we have a little bit of a different angle. When he's moving down, now you can see how he stretches up here. And when I would do a chiropractic release with Aram, I would go down here, would hold this shoulder down and apply pressure here. I'm not a friend of this jerky thing that much. Way better when you do it by applying pressure here. If you put, wenn du das Knie noch höher ziehst, then you have even more pressure. Idea is, theoretically, to bring this knee down to the floor.
No, it's blocking here.
Yeah. It's the tractus iliotibialis. Maybe another theme that we should also cover in another video, that this is the one for the back pain. Okay. Sometimes when you do this exercise, you actually can hear a loud crack. Fun thing is, when we were doing it before, I had a release in this joint. Aram could hear it. And the last thing, the finisher, is my beloved deep squat. Now you see the difference. I have very high ankle mobility, so I can easily stay down with my heels on the floor. Aram is not as much forward as I am, but now the idea is to move a little bit in this position. And to let
should the full foot be on the floor?
Full foot on the floor. If you're too tight, if you cannot do it, you can lift your heels a little bit, but the idea is now more, it's not about the static, oh, how deep can I go down? The idea is to get the movement and to force the hip joints into the healthy position and getting rid of the tension of the tiny muscles and the capsule of the hip joint.
I do this usually for squats warm-up.
Yes, a squat warm-up, most definitely you have to do this. Yeah. Because if you do proper squats, not like how much weight can I bench, but a nice form and proper form, you're supposed to go down like this. Yeah. This is also something, when I see the YouTube squats tutorials, they're always doing these power lifter squats, not the Olympic weightlifting squats. The Olympic weightlifting squats, they are in a position down here. The power lifter squats, they only go down to here.
Isn't your knee in that position in a pretty vulnerable?
If you're down here?
No, here.
You have a tremendous tension here because you have all the quad, the whole quad is pulling across this ligament here and the patella. Yeah. And then you have the pain below the patella. Yeah. Which can be.
So this is a healthier position for the knee to reverse.
Yeah, it is healthier if you have tried it. The problem is most people cannot go down as deep as we can. If you can do it, it's very good. This is the position where all the natural tribes usually are sitting. The natural sitting is the deep squat.
And I think they do this
they don't sit on their behinds. They are,
but they do this for self-protective reasons, so no ugly bugs crawl up there wherever.
Oh Jesus! I can't get the images out of my head.
Yeah, but it's a fact. I mean, why would you? I mean, we have chairs, but
no. But I'm thinking of the poor back leg pool. Rope climbs. Sorry. Oh Jesus.
You've just started your Health for Grown-Up channel.
I've just started my shameless plug YouTube channel, Health for Grown-Ups, especially or specifically designed for grown-ups. This is the Generation X, for people of like 50 years of age and onwards. And the idea is to get into a more healthy lifestyle, especially regarding mobility, also strength a little bit, also some motivational skills in order to stick to these things.
But you do it in a very good way, because you don't walk around and say, look at me, I'm, Ken in his late 60s, or Mr. Universe. And you say, no, I'm a regular person and you are a regular person. What can you do?
Even, I'm always saying I'm not a completely regular person. I have been doing dancing, so I'm quite flexible in this thing here. No, but I want to have, my target group is basically the keyboard jockey. Somebody who is 50, 60, and now is the tooth of time, like we say in Germany, is really taking a bite. And I noticed this with myself. I was very sporty when I was in my teens or 20-something years. Then I had the kids and the profession, and then everything died down a little bit. And now with 60, there are lots of things that I simply cannot do that I used to be able to do earlier. And I'm not talking about max squats, max weights or something like this. We have a very mean saying in Germany: when you are over 50 and you wake up in the morning without hurting, you're dead. So maybe it is possible to wake up in the morning without being dead and without pain. But this is something that's going to take some time.
So ladies and gents, this is something I truly recommend. So, I mean, Charlie's stuff is fundamentally good. So no, seriously, this is why I want that cooperation, because I appreciate your knowledge and you know your stuff in and out. You would not say something if you're not 100% sure. It doesn't mean we are always right, but you've done your homework and you have a lot of experience.
This is the other thing, in my opinion, because this drives me always crazy when I see the YouTube channels of people who have like 5 years gym experience and now they teach you how to move or do things. I've been a psychotherapist for 30 years now, a certified trainer for almost 40 years.
So we just realized that we were standing, we were in the deep squat for what, 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Well, for a couple of minutes, which is, we are not completely normal, especially if you are rowing, you have way better mobility and way better levels of fitness than the average 60 years old. So now we continue standing up. But the thing again is...
But we were talking about how you're fed up with these YouTubers having 5 years of gym experience, jumping around, doing videos. I mean, no offense, but it's one thing to be able to do something yourself, but it's a completely different story to try to teach somebody.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, you also have been a trainer now active trainer for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Same thing with my patients. I'm not so good in the treatment of tinnitus because I have some mysterious gift. The main thing is I've seen like a couple of thousands of patients, and so you had a couple of thousands of trainees. And then you get experience, because not everything is working with everybody. And
that's the thing.
This is something that is very, very important to take into consideration. Also, when you follow YouTube channels for some physical advice, there are lots of people who are giving advice on how to deblock or do something. Please look for people who have some experience or who are professionals in their fields, like physiotherapists that have been doing the job for a longer period of time. There are a couple of channels of people that are really good to recommend. But for example, when I was looking up the SI joint, you get immediately like 50 videos of people who are showing just the sort of last exercise, somehow of getting the knee up here and pushing it over and trying to get pressure on this joint and open it up. Without proper mobilization, it will not work. Or if it works, then it hasn't been blocked for a very long time or for in a heavy way. You need to mobilize it before. I
agree. What I recommend you guys do now is hop over to Charlie's channel. So it's Health for Grownups. I'm going to link it in the description. It's at that stage, as we're recording this video now in mid-May 2023, a tiny channel which just started, but it's one of these small, underrated channels where you actually get good information.
Jesus, I'm blushing.
No, but it's a fact. I mean, I watch the videos, and seriously, I wouldn't do this. I mean, I've never been sponsored on the arm training channel. People try to come and sponsor me, but I don't want that.
You lose it.
Yeah, you become kind of dependent. So I don't want to do this. Either something is my opinion or not. And if I hate it when people have miles-long intros into videos, and then you grasp for you just desperately look for the information. It just doesn't come. And with Charlie's channel, it's a bit the other way around. So make it short, hop over, look at it. And if you think it's worth it, subscribe. I have subscribed, and I think it's worth it. With this being said, that was a cool day. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I do feel it. It feels like something's working now. I feel blood circulation.
Yeah, and you feel getting movement into these joints that you usually never thought of that they are actually moving. It's interesting how many people really think that the pelvis is a solid structure, which is definitely not the case. It's in constant movement.
And the pelvis is so vital for rowing. It's probably the most important part of them all, Because this is where...
Yeah, and that is the thing that you always see in all of your videos. You see these rowers that move the back, and the pelvis is either doing very little, if movement at all.
Yeah.
And basically, you are supposed to move on your sit bones. This down here, not up here. It's really down here where the movement should orientate. This only goes if you have a stability and also some strength in the pelvis.
Excellent. Charlie, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Great.
Yeah, always. Bye, people.